What it is, my Tinno, Peace and Grease here, and you are here for Gauss. Now, you've watched all the memes and you've heard all the other content creators out to tell you that Gauss is amazing because of that new frame smell. And it happens every time. But what's really the truth? And oddly enough, it actually falls somewhere in the middle. But let's get down to brass tacks here, shall we? Is Gauss, an air quotes, good frame? The answer to that, quite simply, is it depends. I know. It's not the answer you want, but it's the most honest answer I can give. And the reason for this is because Gauss is what I refer to as a high-maintenance frame. When I refer to high-maintenance frames like Gauss, you got to look at frames like Nidus, for example. Now, side note, if you've watched any of my other content, you know that Nidus is basically my favorite frame in the game. But I consider Nidus to be a high maintenance frame. And the reason for this is because with Nidus, it's all about the stacks. It's all about stack management. So with Nidus, when you go into a mission, you're always throwing out your 2 to gather up enemy, throwing out your 3 to tether enemies so that you can, your stomp is actually hitting more enemies. You're throwing out your 4 so your maggots can get you more stacks. And you're stomping your way to more stacks. All about dim stacks. Now, as much as I enjoy Nidus, I can't use him all the time. I get tired of the stack grind. I get sick of always having to focus on the stacks. So I find myself just wanting to use another frame and just get in, get out, get done. And so I end up having to switch off Nidus. And so with Nidus, I tend to switch on and off and on and off and on and off. Another reason I bring this up is because the same thing happened with Gauss. In fact, even with just leveling Gauss, I found myself wanting to go to a different frame. I found myself bored. I found myself sick to death of using Gauss because, again, he's a high maintenance frame. But instead of stacks, he's all about that battery power. He's all about keeping redline up. He's all about constantly moving, constantly casting your abilities. Even if there aren't enemies around, you're still casting the abilities because you're trying to keep that battery up. You're trying to keep that red line going. And after a while, if you're anything like me, you get tired of that battery power just looming over your head nonstop. As I said, just leveling him after installing Forma, I got tired of running him after a very short period of time. Now, I'm not trying to say that Gauss is a bad frame. Understand that. Let me be clear about that. Gauss is going to be very good in high-level missions. Whether you're running high-level survival or defense or whatever, Gauss is going to be very good in those locations. But Gauss is going to fall into a certain category for a certain type of player. The best way that I can really describe this is going to be similar to support frames. Now, I personally don't run support frames. I respect support frames. And I get super stoked when I jump in with a squad of randoms and I see somebody running a support frame like Trin or Obi. I'm always like, yes. Hells yes, it's on. Because a support frame can be the anchor of your fire team. But it's a certain kind of category and a certain type of player that like those support frames. And this is exactly what's going to, who Gauss is going to appeal to. It's going to appeal to people that like these types of high maintenance frames. Maybe you will like this frame. But that's what I mean by saying, is Gauss good? And the answer is, it depends, because it's really going to be dependent upon each individual player. If you like him, you know my mantra, if you like him, use him. But with those things said, I do want to point out that I think DE's putting way too much focus on crowd control. Don't misunderstand me here, okay? Don't get me wrong. Crowd control is amazing. It truly is. Crowd control is wonderful. But if I'm given the choice between A, crowd-controlled enemies, or B, dead enemies, I will always take B. Every time. And the reason for this is because enemies can come out of crowd control and try to bury a meat cleaver in the back of your Warframe skull. Dead enemies can't do that. So I will always take B in that case. So hopefully DE starts to kind of recognize crowd control for the sake of crowd control isn't as good as a dead enemy. And there are so many good frames out there right now that just, kill the enemies as opposed to crowd control them, But anyway, with that said, Yeah, Gauss is going to work great in high-level missions. Me, myself, if I'm going to jump into a high-level survival or defense, I'm going to take my boy Nidus. So for me personally, Gauss is going to be collecting dust on my arsenal. Maybe I'll get him out and dust him off to run a mission here or there. But I do recommend the very first thing you do once you get your Gauss is to go ahead and go to the Plains of Eidolon, go to Orbalis, and just blaze across those open trails as fast as you can. It's really fun. I mean, it's a blast. And depending on your attention span, you'll have 5 to 10 minutes of a hell of a lot of fun. I know I did. But I can give you the peace prediction here, right now. Once the new frame smell is all the way off Gauss, and the fanfare has died down, and the fanboys and fangirls have kind of realized what Gauss is and isn't, I can actually tell you what role Gauss is going to fall into, because he's already starting. And that is, Gauss is going to fall into the spam 3 to wipe the map role. And I can tell you that's going to happen because that's what I'm doing. I'm jumping on Hydron, and all I'm doing is just spamming the living shit out of 3 and wiping the map. And there's nothing wrong with that. Banshee does it. So, yeah, I definitely see Gauss kind of picking up kind of Banshee's role and carrying it a little bit with her, taking some of that load on his shoulders. But I definitely see it going down that road. But, all right, so with that said, let's talk about Gauss's bundle, his package here. And no, ladies, I don't mean this one. So his bundle included the alternate helm, included a Syandana, included the frame, and the 2 weapons, which I'll get to the weapons here momentarily. But when we talk about the Syandana, we'll talk about that first. So the Syandana is, in general, I'm kind of disappointed with this bundle, to be completely honest with you. First of all, the Syandana is, all right, let me be as professional and delicate as I possibly can here. When this video is concluded, I will be removing this Syandana from my Gauss and running a different Syandana. So yeah, I think you know how I feel about this Syandana, because I'm not going to run it. So yeah, there you go. Enough said about that. Moving on. With the bundle, you also got Gauss's alternate helmet. Now, Gauss's alternate helmet is cool looking. I like this kind of turbine looking idea here in the back of the skull. It colors really well, as does his standard helmet though. So yeah, I dig it. I mean, I like it. Is it worth buying? Listen, it's not. Because here in the very near future, this alternate helmet will be going to Nightwave, and you can just simply use creds to buy it and build it in your foundry. So you can just get it in-game for free. I would highly recommend that over buying it for plat. Just my 2 cents. That's what I personally would do. Now, fun fact about this helmet. Now, Gauss's alternate helmet is called MAG. Also, Gauss's standard helmet looks very MAG-like. So, I mean, even the standard helmet looks pretty good in general. And you know, the funny thing about these helmets is MAG actually has an alternate helmet called Gauss. If I can find it, there she is. Now, I do think that basically back in the day, DE was looking for an alternate helmet name, and they just named it Gauss, and so that's pretty much a coincidence. But the fact that Gauss has an alternate helmet called MAG, and his standard helm actually looks like MAG, it does kind of make you wonder. Now, I'm going to just tinfoil hat and conspiracy theory this shit. I'm wondering if DE's trying to allude to the fact that maybe in the near future there will be some sort of symbiosis between frames. So let's say, for example, someone takes a Gauss into a mission and someone else takes a MAG into a mission, and maybe they generate buffs for one another. That would freaking be cool. I'm gonna admit that, like that would be freaking pretty. That would be pretty awesome. Like I jump into a mission with Nidus and someone else is running a Saren, and so they click and start generating buffs for one another. Hell's yes, I'd be down for that. You know, again, conspiracy theory there, just tinfoil hat in this shit. But you know, hey, it just something that jumped in my mind. DE, if you didn't have that in mind and now you want to use that idea, please do. I would be all for it. But anyway, so let's talk about Gauss's weapons, shall we? So Gauss came with two weapons, the Acceltra and the Akarius. Now the Acceltra is a crit-based primary that's like this rapid-fire missile launcher, and it's actually a hell of a lot of fun. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. Good crit chance, good crit damage, good damage overall. I really do enjoy this thing. Then we move on to the Akarius, which is the secondary, and it's status-based with blast, inherent blast damage. This is also a hell of a lot of fun to use. I actually enjoyed it, and it really surprised me because when I first saw them, I thought, oh look, it's another Acceltra Prime. Whoop-de-doo. But it's not. It's not the Acceltra. But they are a hell of a lot of fun to use. In fact, the weapons impressed me more than Gauss did. In fact, I'm still using the weapons because I enjoy them. But there is a rub here. And that is, this message is directly to DE. And it's like, okay, DE, don't penalize players for using weapons with other frames. The Akarius's reload time is miserable. Now, you can reduce that with Gauss and sprinting. But if you use these secondaries on a different frame, you have the same horrid reload time. So DE, what the hell are you doing? Of course, people are going to use these weapons with other frames. I use the Akarius with Nidus. Hello, how the hell is you going to punish me for using a weapon with a different frame? Everybody's going to do it. So if you want to give specific frames buffs with specific weapons, I love the idea. Go ham. I dig it. I do. Great idea. But don't penalize us for using them with other frames. That's just asinine. Okay. Now, I personally wouldn't buy the bundle if I were you, because honestly, the bundle, for me personally, it left a lot to be desired. I wasn't impressed, it's like the Renown pack. The Renown packs, like I religiously bought the Renown packs every single time. But those have gone straight down the toilet. Like the last Renown pack included like 2 weapon skins for weapons I didn't use that much. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying that. But yeah, I used to religiously buy the Renown packs, and I refuse to now because they're trash. They're garbo now. Well, this particular bundle, the Gauss bundle, I would just farm the frame and the weapons from Disruption and call it a day. Alright, I wouldn't buy the bundle. I would just farm them up from Disruption and get them and enjoy them. See if you like Gauss. See if you like the weapons. Right? That's my 2 cents. So, anyway, let me know down in the comment section what you think about Gauss. What do you think about... Do you love him? Do you hate him? Do you like him? What about his weapons? Let me know down in the comment section. And until next time, peace and grace.